What's going on, everybody? Will Pounder here. In today's video, we're going to be talking about six-pack abs. Now, if you don't want to know anything about six-pack abs, then click off this video. But if you want to know the secrets and some gold nuggets to throw into your daily regimen, then keep watching. So there are two aspects that come into developing and showing off your six-pack abs. First off, we have to build the mountains, and that happens inside the gym. Now, a big misconception when people are starting to get in shape and they make those changes is they decide that when they go to the gym, they're just going to hammer away at their abs. Well, one thing's for sure, consistency is way better than one-time intensity. So we're going to focus on building our upper abs and our lower abs and the abs that kind of wrap around. And I've covered this in previous videos. We basically have a version of crunches that target the upper four. We have a version of butt raises that covers the lower four, and planks covers the band that wraps it around. Everybody has a different exercise that they like to use for core, so I encourage you to use what you've been using that's been working for yourself, and maybe once in a while branch out and try something new as far as building muscle along your abs. Now, where the real results show when it comes to getting the six-pack abs is actually built inside the kitchen and understanding how the body processes certain things. We're going to break this down. Now, when we're talking about diets, we're going to talk about the keto diet, we're going to talk about intermittent fasting, and then we're going to talk about the regular diet that you're on, but just being in a caloric deficit so that we're actually burning fat and losing calories. So, first off is I want to cover cravings, because cravings is the #1 killer when it comes to actually trying to lose weight. Straight black coffee in the morning actually curbs cravings. It curbs the appetite throughout the day. It also has caffeine in it, which also increases thermogenesis. Now, thermogenesis is a process of burning brown fat for energy, because we have white fat and we have brown fat.
White fat bad.
Brown fat good.
White fat bad.
Brown fat good. So what we need to do is, what helps us convert white fat into brown fat? Because when we're in a caloric deficit, or we're in ketosis, or we're intermittent fasting, we're burning brown fat. Now the real battle is, how do we get rid of that nasty white fat? So, #1, an appetite controller. Straight black coffee, that does wonders. Green tea does wonders, and green tea, also side note, helps the brain. But addition to that, and this is one of my favorites, now I'm not gonna lie, it doesn't taste the greatest, but the results you can't beat, which is apple cider vinegar. Now, apple cider vinegar, it also reduces appetite, but in addition to that, it also helps convert white fat into brown fat. Now, a couple things that we can throw into our diet, or the foods that we're eating that also does the same, is we have broccoli, cauliflower, and Brussels sprouts. Now, all three of those, they help convert white fat into brown fat. We're seeing a trend here. We want to kind of start tapering the road down to all things that convert white fat into brown fat for thermogenesis, so that we can start getting rid of the fat. Now, let's talk about some common mistakes in each of the diet trends. So the first one, we have the keto diet. When you're burning fat, and you kind of hit a plateau, there's a couple things that help you move that fat throughout the body. Now, fat gets transferred through the body through the lymphatic system. Now, what the lymphatic does not do is move by itself, unfortunately. Your lymphatic system moves based off of you moving or you moving it. So, for example, using a foam roller will help move the lymphatic system. Get a lymphatic massage from a massage therapist. Going around, moving, stretching, all that kind of stuff helps move the lymphatic fluid in the system around. Now, I want to kind of shift gears from the keto diet over into intermittent fasting diet. One of the biggest mistakes with intermittent fasting happens when you decide to break the fast. This is important no matter what area you're doing, because our focus is basically reducing our mass. So by doing this, we want to signal our body to tell it to keep muscle, burn fat. Makes sense. But if you don't do this, what I'm about to tell you, your body is going to burn your fat, your muscle, because your muscle is what consumes more energy. So, this is very important, so bear with me. You're gonna have to work out. Oh yeah, you're gonna have to put your muscles into a hypertrophic state, because that produces what's called mTOR, which signals your body to basically keep your muscle mass. Now, what's even more important is when we're doing this in a fasting state, we ideally want to work out right before we decide to break our fast. Not only are our cells starving, but after a workout, they're super starving. So when we eat food, it's going to absorb everything that we eat. When we break our fast, we want to cause a super sharp glycemic spike. Let's just take a fast digesting carb, let's say 2 to 3 brown rice cakes. And let's take a handful of fructose, let's say a handful of blueberries. So we're going to consume those right there, and what that's going to do is it's going to cause a super sharp glycemic spike. Now at that moment, our body is very susceptible to what we ingest. And at this moment, let's consume a super lean protein. Now, but what that means is our body, all of our cells, is going to consume protein into it. It's going to absorb protein. And this can increase protein synthesis by 50%. Hold on. Let me say that again. It can increase protein synthesis by 50%. You mean to tell me that I can get 50% more results from the workout that I just did? Yeah, pretty much. Now, the next area I want to talk about is for those of us that are not on a keto diet and for those of us that are not intermittent fasting. When we're on a regular diet, where the goal here is just to reduce our caloric intake. So an easy way to go about this is figure out what your metabolic rate is. If you're consuming 2,500 calories a day, just reduce it by 500. Now what some people do is they just cut it in half. You're gonna get results. You're gonna get results really quick. But you're probably going to mess up your metabolism, and you're probably going to pay for it extra hard in the mid to long term. And so we're not in the business of short fixes. We're in the business of lifestyle changes because we want to increase results for the duration of our life. We want to increase our mental health for the duration of our life. We don't just want short fixes that end up backfiring down the road. Now, another thing that goes on inside of a regular diet is that a lot of people don't understand is that whatever starch is in your bloodstream will turn to fat when you sleep, basically overnight. So when you're at a phase where you're like, all right, I need to trim up, I got to start looking good, and I do this all the time. What I personally do is I tend to go to bed between 10 p.m. and midnight. So right around 4 p.m., that's when I have my last carbs for the day. So I have carbs in the morning for breakfast, I have carbs for lunch, and then I have carbs right at 4 p.m. You want to consume the carbs based off of the need for the day. Right at 4 p.m., that's when I'm going to cut off my carbs. And then my evening meal is most likely going to be protein and healthy fats. Because whatever starches in your system turns to fat overnight. There's a couple things that we need to talk about. And one of those is drinking water. A lot of people are dehydrated. And when we're really trying to get things to move in our body, because we're trying to get fat to move in our body, we're trying to get thermogenesis up, we need to have a well-oiled machine. So to have a well-oiled machine, we need to drink at least a gallon of water a day. And make sure that you're replenishing yourself with electrolytes. So one way to do this is in your gallon of water, basically put like a teaspoon of high-quality salt, like Himalayan pink salt. That'll help replenish a bunch of things that you'll be sweating out basically throughout the day. Everything that we're paving, our whole mind, our whole objective is we got the meat and potatoes, but let's fine tune all the little things to have them all working for us. Because right now, all roads are leading to burning fat. Does that make sense? All right. Well, I hope you're able to incorporate these into your daily life and into your own nutritional standard and your own workout programs and everything that on your lifelong objectives. And once again, my name is Will Pounder, and thank you so much for listening. And I can't wait to talk to you till next time. Okay, bye.